Ooh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Never mind. If you do have eggshells in your thing, it's just extra calcium. Don't worry about it. All right, take a look at that slice. So for today's episode of Give It a Twist, we're going to be taking a look at some pizza. And more specifically, we're going to be taking a look at the deep dish pizza. Now, traditionally, pizzas are very crispy, doughy, gooey, cheesy dishes. But we're going to up the game by making it not only crispy and gooey, but also fluffy and moist. We're going to be making the crust. And for this, we're going to be using the pie dough. And if you guys don't want to purchase pie dough, you can also make it by just mixing a bit of butter and flour. But just to make it easier for us, we bought this pie dough instead. Also going to need a little flour to roll the pie crust, and also a rolling pin. All right, let's get started. Now it depends how much dough you actually need, depending how big your tray is. I think this is a good size. Before you start, always make sure to flour your surface. You don't want your pie crust sticking to the table. And also, don't forget to flour your rolling pin as well. You don't want that sticking to it. I'm just gonna fold it over into itself a couple times just so you can get a good shape. And just kind of want to roll this out until it's a big enough circle. That's about the size of your tray. If the pie crust actually starts sticking to the rolling pin or the table, just add a little bit of flour. It's no big deal. Make sure you don't add too much though, or the pie crust will dry out. And if you guys are making your dough by hand using the butter and flour, if your butter ever starts to melt, just like refrigerate the dough. And here we are, we have the dough to about 1/4 of an inch. And for this, we're gonna be using the ceramic tray that we actually bought right here. And to place the crust in, just put down the centers first and then push down into the edges so you don't get any air gaps. And we're just going to be trimming away any excess. And here we're just stretching out the edges to make a little bit of a crust here. And once you're done putting the crust into the tray, it should look something like this. And to prevent the butter from melting, we're going to put this in the refrigerator. Butter's melting a little bit. Jesus. All right. Just put it in the fridge to chill. And while that's chilling, we're going to be making the filling. And for that, we're gonna need some eggs, and we're gonna need some cheese, and some pepperoni. Classic pizza filling. All right, let's get back to the table. Always take the biggest mixing bowl. Pro tip, you can never have too much space, right? Let's make the filling. So to start off for this, I'm gonna be beating some eggs in a bowl. So I got this trusty little metal bowl here. If you don't have one of these, you should get it. It's really handy. So I think for a pie that big, I'm gonna be using 3 eggs. We start by cracking an egg. One hand. I broke it. All right. It's fine as long as there's no eggshells in there. You'll be safe to eat it. Finish this up by just beating the eggs. And it should look something like this. One sec, I need to get this eggshell out. Actually, never mind. If you do have eggshells in your thing, it's just extra calcium. Don't worry about it. I think calcium's good for you, right? It's in your bone. Bruh. Now we have that set. Part of the filling, we're gonna be using evaporated milk. We're using this instead of regular milk because it tastes more creamy. Get a nice like toasty flavor. And I also saw this really cool gadget online. It's supposed to be some really good can opener. I'm not sure how it works. We'll just give it a try on camera. It doesn't really look like it's cutting, but I hear like air coming out of the can. It's gotta be a good sign, right? How long does this go for? How do you know when it's done? So I think this is okay. And we have this cool gadget here. It's like a claw, like a crab thing. Crab to grab. Look at that. This is the coolest gadget ever. Links in the description below. And for this particular recipe, we're gonna be using a full can of evaporated milk. So we're just gonna dump that in the bowl. And stay safe, kids. Don't leave the sharp metal on the table. And we carefully put this somewhere. flour, basil, garlic powder. And so to the evaporated milk, we're just gonna add the beaten eggs. Here's a little trick. If you get eggshells, they stick to the bottom. All planned. We'll grab some flour. And we don't want too much flour, we just wanna thicken it up a little bit. Just gonna be using 2 tablespoons. Doesn't have to be exact. 2. And we're also gonna be adding garlic powder and basil leaves. All right. And for this, we don't want too much of a strong garlic taste. We're just gonna use a 1/4 teaspoon. Oh my God, do you see the static on that garlic? That's the effect you're looking for. This is gonna make it taste really good. And that's good. Of course, if you do like garlic, you can always put like a little more, a little less. Doesn't really matter. And next up, we're gonna be adding some of the basil leaves. And for this, I'm gonna be adding about 1 teaspoon of the basil leaves. You smell that? It smells pretty good. And we're just gonna grab a whisk to mix this up. Got my handy whisk. Kinda just wanna be mixing in together all the white flour. You don't want any of the white little lumps in here. Cool little trick. Normally people whisk like this. If you whisk back and forth, it'll be easier to mix in all that flour. It does create a lot of bubbles though, it's fine. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And now that we have prepared the filling, we need to also get the pie crust so we can fill it. And let's also preheat the oven to 305 degrees. All right, come with me. So we have this fancy toaster oven, not sponsored by Oster, but please sponsor. 305. We put it on muffin for bake. Your thing might have bake on it, that might be easier. And we turn it on. And just to know when it's ready, we have this nice little thermometer by Jamie Oliver, also not sponsored. And now we wait. And while the oven's preheating, you should always make sure you clean up. And if you're like me, just cleaning up means just putting it on a little tray in the back here, and then let someone else deal with it later. And make sure to keep the bowl with the filling because you're going to be using that later. And don't forget to wash your hands after you're done cleaning up. Cloth, water, cleaning power. Let's get back to the table. Oh, here's a cool cleaning tip I learned by watching a janitor. So what you do is you go one direction, you turn around, you come back, and you do like the snake pattern. And then when you get to the very end, because you did it in this particular way, all the crumbs and stuff are like stuck under the cloth, and you just... There's a garbage can here. And so for the next part of this recipe, we're going to be looking at the toppings. For this one, we're going to go with the classic pepperoni pizza toppings. It's literally just pepperoni and cheese. I don't know if cheese is considered a topping, but we're going to put it in anyway. Right here. Got this nice value buy. A ton of slices of pepperoni. And just classic mozzarella cheese. Be careful not to cut your finger. We're just going to stack them all up. And we're going to cut them up like this. You'll get a slow motion of this one. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And if you like them smaller bits, you can also cut them lengthwise like this. And we're just gonna put this straight into the mixture. Alright, because we're classy people, we're just gonna stick to just the pepperoni today. Alright, let's check on the oven, see if it's preheated. 125. Alright, I don't know, I guess we wait. The most crucial step of this recipe, while you're waiting for it to preheat, heat an Oreo. Well, actually, it's almost 300. I lied, it's not 125. So this is pretty much almost 305 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're just gonna grab the pie crust and let's put the filling in. Let's fill this thing up. So the first step is to get that same gooey, oozy, cheesy goodness. Then we're putting some of the mozzarella right against the crust. There's no measurements for this part, it's just how much cheese you like. Also gonna get a few pepperoni slices and we're gonna put them on. And we're just gonna pour the mixture directly on top of this. And to top off the pie, we just add a bit more cheese. Just very lightly sprinkle it on top. You kind of want it to sit on top so you can get the nice, like, crispy cheese, the gooey cheese. And to top that off, we put even more pepperoni. If you're watching this video and you're planning to do this at home, I recommend that you actually put the pepperoni first, so you can create like these little lily pads of meat to hold the mozzarella cheese up. And there it is. Now we just have to put it in the oven and let it bake for 40 minutes at 305 degrees Fahrenheit. See you in 40 minutes. It's pizza quiz time. So for this special first episode, I prepared a little game for you guys. Now if you're watching this, you can keep track of your own score, see how well you do. All right, let's get started. A total of 3 questions. The first question is, if you're ordering pizza, would you rather order an 18-inch pizza or 2 12-inch pizzas? What is the value by? That's right, if you guessed the single 18-inch pizza, you're correct. The area of a pizza gets a lot larger as you increase the radius, but the cost of the pizza does not increase in the same way. They charge you more. All right, for the second question, what is the most popular day of the week to eat pizza? If you guess Saturday, you're correct. In America, the most popular day to eat pizza is Saturday. My most popular day is Monday because you get the 50 off online deal. It's a good deal. All right, and the last one. Save the hardest question for last. How many different ways are there to order pizza from Domino's online? If you guessed 34 million different ways, you're correct. Thank you for participating in today's quiz. Leave a comment below on what you got on the quiz. If you get 3 out of 3, it's good for you. Oh yeah, fun fact. What is a popular pizza topping in Japan? A, pepperoni. B, pineapple. C, anchovies. Or D, squid and mayonnaise. It actually turns out in Japan, one of their most popular pizzas actually have squid and mayonnaise on it. Get your oven mitts. It's time to check out on this thing. Slightly jiggly in the center. From what I've learned from baking cake, you just stab it, and if it comes out clean, it's good. Ooh, that is not good yet. So since it doesn't come out clean, we're gonna have to put this in for probably another 10 minutes. Now the cooking time probably depends based on how deep of a dish you use. So this one is pretty deep. So that probably explains why we need to cook this a little bit longer. Set the timer back up, and let's put this back in. And now we wait.
A few moments later.
So this has been about 10 more minutes. So we're just gonna check it out. Just like the first time, we're just gonna give it a quick knife test. And if this comes out clean, we did it. Very nice. I think we're ready to go bring it to the table. Pepperoni pizza pie. I think this looks pretty good. So if you're a normal person, you probably should be waiting like 5 to 10 minutes before you serve this. Especially something this thick can get really hot and it can burn you. But if you're crazy, like me, we're just gonna check out what's inside right away. I have no idea how I'm gonna take this out. So we had a little bit of trouble taking it out of the tray. As you can see, we didn't really prepare ahead of time and put like stuff to help take it out. But what we did resort to was just folding up some aluminum paper, and we just stuck it under the pie itself, and we did it on 2 sides. And we just kind of tilted the tray and pulled it out. And doing this method, we managed to actually get it onto the cutting board. Should we check out what's inside? And we pull out a nice slice. Ooh. All right, take a look at that slice. I think I'd say this is a pretty big success. Although the crust on the bottom's a little bit thick, the filling looks delicious. All right, so actually just taking a closer look at this slice here, we noticed that the crust is a little bit too thick, so it didn't actually cook in the oven. And the filling itself actually looks pretty good. The topping is fine, but I don't think this is edible. We're gonna have to remake it and make the crust a little bit thinner.
One eternity later.
We did try to redo this with a thinner crust, and I'd like to say that so far it looks pretty good, but we're gonna have to go and dig inside to see what it looks like. And I can tell you this smells pretty good. It might just be like the store-bought crust, but smell the cheese and that pepperoni. It's gonna be some gooey goodness. All right, so for the second time, we're gonna do a reveal. So let's check it out, what's on the inside. Oh, the crust is so flaky, dude. And there it is, your deep dish pepperoni pizza pie. So I guess there's really only one way to test out if this is really good. We're gonna have to dig in with a fork. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. But yeah, overall I think this is pretty good. If you do like pizza and you like a nice flaky pie crust, this is a pretty good combination. And I think you guys should definitely try this out. Alright, so this wraps up the first episode of Give It a Twist. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this episode as much as I did making the pepperoni pizza pie. If you do have any other suggestions, please leave a comment below. I'm gonna save a slice for Roland. I think he'll love this one.
It's actually good.